Hey, welcome back, everybody. Third video tonight. Once again, it is Friday morning, the 23rd of September. This is episode number 7 of the My Favorite LJN tournament revisited. So we got a lot of really good matches right now. So just like last video, a lot of figures that are gonna have more than just one original, one custom, or even one original, two customs. So just kind of looking at this, man, I'm probably going to have to move some figures along. You know what? I actually didn't grab a competitor for this first figure, so I'm going to select. So I'm actually kind of jumping around a little bit because so many of these figures have duplicates. I'm trying to move figures around to combat those that don't have duplicates. So one of the very first figures for Series 5 is the Johnny Valiant figure. Not a bad figure at all. I mean, he's a manager. A lot of times when you look at the manager card figures, which include Mean Gene Okerlund, Vince McMahon, referees, they're not intended to be wrestlers, so you're not too fixated on fighting poses. But a figure like this, it is a very good pose regardless, and you could use this as a wrestler if you wanted to. And he's actually one of the better fighters, it looks like. Kind of like, Freddie Blassie. I thought Freddie Blassie, when I first did the tournament way back in March, I thought he was a top 10 figure. When I did the competition, or excuse me, when I did my top 10 favorite figures, he didn't crack the top 10. But based on that fighting pose, I mean, he's like an SD Jones type. I think SD Jones, I had him at number 10 or something, which I think was a darn shame because I think SD Jones is actually a much higher figure as far as playability is concerned. But like I said, Valiant for a non-wrestling figure, just like the Freddie Blassie figure, an amazing figure for play and display wise. And this figure looks mint to me. I don't see any discrepancies on this guy. But I'm sure if you look hard enough, you can probably find a splotch here or there. Beautiful figure. Don't have too much knowledge of Johnny Valiant at all, but it's still a great figure regardless. As I mentioned, I had to move much further down the shelf to find him an actual competitor to battle because all these other figures have duplicates. So he is going against Andre the Giant Blackstrap. Yes, I absolutely love the Series 1 Andre the Giant, long hair, blue trunks. I use the Series 1 Andre on my top 10 list of favorite figures. The blue trunk Series 2 version, short hair, is an absolute gorgeous piece. And of course, I know Blackstrap Andre is the best, and it's a great figure. I mean, Series 6 and Series 2 is the exact same figure, and I don't think that they have a different fighting pose. I'm just going to dig into my little steel cage ring here. So I'm just kind of like matching them up a little bit. Yeah, based on that, nope. It looks like the right arm might be a little bit more. Nah. Nope, I take it back. They look identical to me. I don't know. I know that I thought the Series 1 figure was the same fighting pose wise, but the Series 1 figure had his arms extended a little bit more, and then one side was pushed in a little bit more. So Series 2 and Series 6 look identical. Now this right here, I don't believe this is an original figure. I think this is a Series 2. Yeah, this is a Series 2 custom repaint, so this ain't even a real Series 6. But I'm going to use it as a Series 6 because, hey, they made a black strap for me. Will I get an original eventually at some point? God, I hope so. I really want one, but man, $400, sometimes more than that for it, and I don't know. I could go to Ram Treasures for like $130, but I'd rather have the one that actually says Grand Toys on the bottom. I mean, this battle between Johnny Valiant and Andre, this is a no-brainer. I mean, you can't push one of the best fighting posed figures of all time, and just eliminate him right off the bat. And great figure. He's not a wrestler, even though he's got a great pose, great colors. It's just not going to top Andre. There's just no way other to describe it. You can't make an argument one way or the other. This Andre Blackstrap is moving on to the next round. Very easy competition there because it was a no-doubter. So I got a couple one-man gang figures here. We'll start with the original. Just like Ken Patera, it's so frustrating to have a really beautiful figure ruined by this terrible fighting pose. I mean, this guy is absolutely fantastic. I was talking about the Survivor Series 87 match in a couple videos ago. One Man Gang, King Kong Bundy, Butch Reed. I know Butch Reed from Galoob, but I think that's the first time I've ever seen him fight. Who else was there? So we got Butch Reed, Andre the Giant, One Man Gang, Bundy, and who was the other one? Oh, Rick Rude. And they were in competition with Hogan, Paul Orndorff, Bam Bam Bigelow, Ken Patera, and Don Morocco. And this guy is enormous. Size, height-wise, he's almost as big as Andre the Giant. Waist size, just a giant, man. He's just huge, just all around. This would be a horrible guy to get into a ring and try to fight. And it's odd, just like King Kong Bundy, these guys who are like super huge have such crazy agility. It's fascinating. Even Bam Bam Bigelow in that matchup, he was on the outside. He kind of like leaned back on the top ropes and hopped over the rope, on the rope, and hopped over the rope and landed on King Kong Bundy and pinned him. I'm like, how is a man 300, almost 400 pounds? How do they do that? That's amazing. But One Man Gang, an absolute beautiful figure. I can't stress that enough. I love everything about this figure until you get to the arm positioning. And it kills me because I want to say this is an elite figure, but he would be towards the bottom mid-level figure for me because of that arm positioning. Now, this one came from Wrestling Writer. It is the custom version, and this figure is about as close to the original as possible. Now, when you look at it, there are very minor changes, and the biggest change you'll notate is the vest. So, the vest is a dark navy blue coloring, whereas, of course, the original is a light blue color. And because of the navy blue, it's almost black in its color. And you see the glossiness and how the face kind of stands out and whatnot. But he also has this UWF championship belt. So they kind of like tape this down to the figure or glue it down. They got these little sticky pads here. Now this one for the first time ever is actually coming off. And I've had this one for 9 months, a year. I don't know. Maybe not a year. I'd say about 9 or 10 months. So I've had this one for quite a while. And that's the first time I've seen that belt start to move. But the actual customization of the figure is absolutely remarkable. And because they're basically the exact same figure, I do like the dark vest of this a little bit better. The glossiness. I am pushing Wrestling Writers One Man Gang figure forward to round 2. Next matchup is a man who is now Reverend. I forget the character's real name, but we are going with Manager Slick. You put Slick together with Big Boss Man. I think they brought in Akeem later on, aka One Man Gang, and you got the Twin Towers. absolutely huge guys. When Big Boss Man, when he lost all that weight, obviously much better appearance. Much more professional. I just think his matches became much more entertaining. Slick, to me, I don't know. I'm not. Sorry, I got to keep positioning because my knees are killing me over here. I am just not a fan of the figure. It's kind of like a pimp. I mean, he looks like what was that show called? The Boondocks. Back in '04, back in '05, '06, when I was on deployment to Iraq, the Boondocks was a comic strip in the newspaper, and I think at the end of the year, when we were redeploying back stateside, I saw my NCO. She had a Boondocks DVD box set, and I'm like, wow, they turned the comic strip into a TV show. That's awesome. And so he kind of reminds me of a pimp named Sliphack. Every time I see this figure. So everything about this figure is so excessively small. The hat accessory is so tiny. The figure itself, it's not quite as small as like an Elizabeth figure. But I mean, you put these figures side by side. I mean, very, very, very small. Very I don't know how big he was in real life. But based on his appearance, I would say like 5'7" or something. He just looks tiny. So this one does have a custom version. So the custom version I got from Stinger GQ has like this old 1920s newspaper or newsroom hat. Kind of like what you would see like Babe Ruth wear back in the day. And I don't know if that's what it's actually called, newsroom hat, but this is a beautiful design. I don't know if I necessarily like it better than the gray. So they keep the pocket square, the t-shirt, everything is filled in. The only thing I don't like about this one is that they cover up the buttons and the chain right here. So even though I really love the color, it really pops, and I love the fact that they gave it its own special, unique accessory, I am going to go with the original on this figure. So Slick original defeats custom. So this one, and this is what I'm kind of saying. The first one here, I consider the referee a LJN original, but I purchased this one from Random Treasures. And, Random Treasures, they had like 3 different colors, the white, the pink, and the blue. And they had them all displayed. I was really hoping, back in the day when I wasn't really acquiring a whole lot at the time, before I started, really going crazy and buying them up, I was really hoping that all 3 figures would come. But alas, you had to make your choice of which one you wanted. And so I decided to go with the original. I got to reposition myself. Okay, alright. Oh, sorry. Almost kicked over my computer. Ooh, this sucks. So, again, even though this came from Random Treasures, I do consider it LJN original based on the design and all that. So, the referee, what I love about this figure, it's kind of like a Terry Funk of sorts. So, it has a Terry Funk type pose. But, so, I said I don't like the Terry Funk figure altogether, but he does have an adequate, not great, but an okay fighting pose. And if this is like Terry Funk, this would be a great figure to use for fighting. Why not? You don't have to have the referee simply referee your match. Use him as a wrestler if you want. And I don't know why so many figures, the referee, the Valiant, the Freddie Blassies, the non-wrestlers, a lot of the non-wrestlers have some of the best fighting poses, and it's so weird. I mean, you've got Harley Race with this terrible pose, you got Ted Arcidi with the terrible pose, and Jimmy Snuka, which is absolutely horrible, yet, I mean, come on, this right here is light years greater than a Jimmy Snuka. So this next one is also from Random Treasures. This would be second custom or first custom. Again, these are both customs from Random Treasures, but because the white shirt was part of the original line, I consider it original. I like the pink shirt. I mean, to be honest, it really pops more than anything. And I do have another. This one actually is an original blue shirt. So which one I actually like best? I mean, it's a toss up of the coin. You know, pick a number out of hat type of deal. You can't go wrong with anyone. They're all great. If I had to choose 100%, I like the pink. I don't know. You would think the white would make the most sense because it's probably the most common. But I think because pink shirt is so unique and different, you know, it's not common. It's not something that everybody has. It stands out. And so I think for this battle, I would move pink shirt referee forward. And I think the first time around, I had him go up against an actual wrestler. I'm trying to think, did I have him? Yeah, I probably did. I probably did have them square off against each other. I would have had to, because I did have duplicates at the time. So, I mean, it's a referee. It's a generic referee. I don't know if they're necessarily, you know, designing the referee after a specific, you know, person or whatnot. I don't know. It looks like a cartoon. You really can't tell. So, as far as refereeing or anything like that, I mean, does anybody have a actual story about a particular referee that stands out? You could say, what was the guy with the H in his name? I actually got that figure over there from Heels and Faces. And, you know, with his twin brother and you know, Ted DiBiase paying him off. And Hogan losing the championship. What was that, to Andre, if I'm not mistaken? So, again, pink shirt moves on to round 2. Next one is going to be Strike Force. I thought Strike Force was going to square off against each other, but I do have a duplicate of Rick Martel. Rick Martel is one of the most interesting wrestlers. So, I do believe Strike Force were champions, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, I put championship belts on all of them, but I try to do that all the tag teams regardless. Rick Martel in the, what was it, 1992, maybe 91? Like I said, all the Royal Rumbles, man. I've been watching so many of those videos, trying to go back and rehash some of my old memories. They all bleed in together. He actually broke the record at the time for, you know, longest tenured Royal Rumble participation. I think he was in for over 50 minutes at one point. But he always seems to be, you know, an energetic force in the competition. And for whatever reason, Tito Santana, when they broke up and no longer partners, you'd always see Rick Martel in the match. Tito Santana would come in later on and go straight for him. And eventually, Rick Martel would toss him out. Tito Santana, to me, is such a low-level wrestler. And when he became the model, you know, he deserved a singles match or going off on the singles, because I'm pretty sure Tito Santana was holding him back anyways. This is a fantastic figure, actually. It's very simple, plain white across the board. I do like the fact that they do have the Strike Force emblems over the trunks and boots. So that's fantastic. The one downside of this figure is the poking, you know, finger out pose. But other than that, this is a fantastic pose. If you want to sit there and you want to body slam someone, you got a good body slam pose, either right or left. You know, you got the good clothesline. You can throw punches and stuff. This is a beautiful figure if you want to use this for your kids, or, again, I said it before, you don't have to get this for your kids. You want to sit there and be 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, and want to play with these, as you know, why not? I mean, who's judging, you know? Fantastic piece. Absolutely love it. And he is going against the model, Rick Martel, from Wrestling Rider. So this one was the AWA World Heavyweight Wrestling Champion. And I'm very familiar with Rick Martel in Pink, and even back in the early '90s, he was wearing blue, he was wearing white. So I mean, I've seen different versions of him. Of course, I always refer to Hasbro because those are the lines and their colors and their uniforms that I'm familiar with most often. But he's got like this little preppy college boy, sweater over the shoulder type deal, and this is just a beautiful piece. And it because it so closely resembles the original, just one simple color across the board. I like blue more than I like white, so that, and of course, how much I love the accessories. To me, the accessories are absolutely everything. To me, that's the difference between a loser, someone going home for the competition, or someone staying in to live another day. And Wrestling Rider, his figures, they just are just, they're priceless. So I was watching a video today, and so on New 80s Revolution, I talked about in the past, one of my all-time favorite shows on YouTube. Absolutely love it. Watch that stuff religiously. And, because of Jason Up, I've got into watching things I've got interested in things I didn't have interest in before. I never really enjoyed thumb wrestlers. Even today, I still think they're some of the ugliest wrestling figures ever. But I've got a new appreciation for them. Remco's, to me, they were like the knockoffs of everything else. I hated that they all had the same body type. It was so unoriginal. Again, never liked them in the past. Having a not infatuation, but I do have a great appreciation for the figures. And I've almost completed that line. There's still several high dollar figures that I need, but I'm probably not going to purchase those, not for no $200-300 a piece. Some of them sell for close to $1,000. I'm like, nah, okay. But he made this remark, which sometimes, yeah, I get it. It could be true, but I don't believe it. But it doesn't pertain to everybody. And he was, bragging about Ram Treasures, of course, and talking about how you go on eBay and basically you get these crappy chop jobs, essentially. I'm like, guys, look, you don't have to be cutting off body parts to create new figures. A simple, well, not simple because I'm not an artist, I can't do something like this, but a paint change just like that, all you're doing is just changing one solid color to another, and to me, it's a completely different figure, and it's absolutely amazing. You don't have to be cutting up figures and creating new characters. From Raider Nation, I got a Rick Martel figure that they turned into a 1-2-3 kid. It's one of the greatest figures of my collection. So, I mean, I don't necessarily always agree with that, and I understand where he's coming from. Jason Up or the 80s Revolution channel and Ram Treasures, they've got their theme going. They're in business together. They send him free figures, and he shoots up their business, which is fine. That's why I kind of like doing what I do. I like harping on, the sellers and the artists who I purchase from. If they give you this great service, if, they're honest people, they give you great communication, if their products are absolutely outstanding, I have no problems, giving credit where credit is due. I always felt very uncomfortable kind of talking about my own channel or kind of like advertising for myself. To me, it just feels weird. But, I mean, I'll advertise or, brag about, other sellers or artists all day because, I mean, to me, that's the highlight of this channel. Anyone that comes and sees these videos and say, hey, I saw your original San Francisco review, and because of you, I bought all these original San Francisco figures. I'm like, absolutely, that's what I love to hear because, I want to know that my videos are making a difference in people's lives. And sometimes you run into folks, you say, hey, because of you, I'm interested in things that I wasn't interested in before, and I bought those items, and, thank you. And then they get mad at you because, they're spending money to purchase these items and they're making videos and they feel like they're wasting their money for you to build your collection. I understand some of the concepts some of the folks said to me, but I mean, I've spent an absolute fortune in order to acquire new collections so that I have, great content for this channel. That's okay. I mean, for as long as I can do it, I'm glad to. Because people are going to see these figures. They're going to get pleasure out of it. They're going to learn about different lines that they weren't familiar with before. And, start up their own personal collections. And, I'm glad to be a force if I can. But, kind of went off topic right there. Just something I was kind of thinking about. And while I was kind of talking about the figures. And I figured I'd go off on this quick tangent a little bit. So... Model Rick Martel, guys, excellent figure from Wrestling Writer. He's going to be pushed forward to the next round. So next one, again, I think it's a fairly simple. Once you see who I bring up, you're pretty much going to know right off the bat. I am not a fan of the Tito Santana figure. I mentioned it with the purple version. Based on the arms out the way that they are, you would think that this would be such a perfect figure for wrestling, and it is horrific. It is one of my least favorite figures. Excessively thin, and just kind of like weird muscle creation over the body. The way that his arms sit, you can't do a proper body slam, and for me, body slam positioning is absolute. It's key. And this is such a terrible figure. And if I were to use this as a kid, or if I wanted to use this right now, if I wanted to play wrestling right now, I would get so little enjoyment out of this. And I don't know, like I would do a wrestling match and I would wrestle for like 2 minutes and I would pin him or something because I couldn't stand this. It's just terrible. And in this battle, he's going up against one of the greatest LJN figures ever. And the Big Boss Man figure has so many positives. Fantastic accessory. Excellent look of the overall figure. Good weight to the figure. Beautiful positioning of the hands. Again, I don't like the fact that they do these poking things with the index figure out. That makes... So many figures do that. I hate it. Rick Martel, Big Boss Man, the list goes on. But... he could throw a punch. He could do clotheslines. Beautiful body slam positioning. It's just an absolute gorgeous piece. There is just no way to describe it. This is an elite figure. And I'm really glad that I get to push this one forward to round 2. Because I really hope that this one goes excessively far in this competition. Because I love being able to talk about this Bossman figure. Easily one of the greatest figures of the entire line. So is it really fair that one of the elite figures goes against one of the worst figures? Big Boss Man moves on to round 2. And what I like about this one, he kind of looks like a combination of Series 1 Hasbro and Series 3. So he's not quite as heavy set as he is in the Series 1 Boss Man. And, his head sculpt obviously is much more compatible with the body type, with the Bossman Hasbro Series 1, his head is excessively small. Just great color, beautiful figure. Yes, all of my Series 6 figures, the black strapped Andre came from Wrestling Writer, but all of the rest of the Series 6 figures came from Random Treasures. Once again, Bossman moves on, round 2. Tito Santana, Strike Force, out of the competition. So, the last matchup I'm going to do is going to feature all of my $1 Million Man figures. So, the very $1 Million Man, he's like Strike Force for me. Strike Force was very difficult for me to acquire, and when I finally got him, the first set I purchased, I paid about $100 purchase price, not including, shipping and taxes and all that. And $100 for the condition they were in. I mean, they weren't like, ripped rubber or anything like that. They just had a lot of paint loss. it was just very difficult to get them for a good price. And Million Dollar Man for me was like the same thing. I don't know how many times I purchased this figure, and I'm not even talking about customs. I'm talking about this particular figure, original. And every now and then I'll put them in listings with other figures, trying to create these lots to sell. But everyone wants a value. They want to get the most bang for their buck and whatnot. So essentially, on auctions and stuff, you gotta start the bid at like 99 cents. Now you buy this and you want to say, hey, I'll take no less than $30 for this figure, and you want to start the bid at $30. You might get a few views here and there, but you're not gonna have a single bidder on that, which is so frustrating. eBay. That's actually a story I'd like to do for my next eBay review. I've done like 2 or 3 of those videos this year. I'm thinking about doing another one because, like I said, sometimes it's just nice to vent. You don't have to go crazy. Just kind of talk about what frustrates you, and I'm sure a lot of people out there feel the same way. Overall, decent figure. Okay fighting pose, not great. Doesn't have a good body stand pose, which I absolutely love. But it is what it is. The first custom I got of this figure. Actually, I don't know if this was the first custom I got from. I'm trying to think. Because I think the green suit $1 Million Man from Random Treasures, I think that was the first $1 Million Man figure I bought. And this must have been the second figure I bought because it most closely resembled the original. And, like I said, it's closely resembles as far as the black suit. Now, obviously they switch things up, switching the silver for the gold, switching out the purple for the gold in front. But everything else is for the most part identical. Purple again switched out for the black. They're both black suited $1 Million Man. His money is much more light green, lime green, however you want to say it, than the more darker version of the original. Absolute gorgeous piece. Right off the bat, the custom $1 Million Man #1 defeats the original. That takes you to the first $1 Million Man figure I purchased, and the green suit from Random Treasures. So, when I took this off the shelf, I thought I was going to choose Random Treasures version to move forward, or at least surpass, this matchup here. But, I don't know, I just don't like the rubber. Like, when I first did my Random Treasures review, talking about all of the figures I've acquired, the first video was like 15 figures, the second video was like 19 figures, and then the last video was like 25 figures. Well, the first 2 videos, this figure was rated so extremely high on my listing, and then when I did the last one, he was near the bottom. He had the largest drop of any other figure. I absolutely love the color. I mean, the green suit $1 Million Man from Hasbro from Series 2, that's my favorite version among the 3 $1 Million Man figures in that line. So I absolutely love this figure, but the only downside is the rubber. The rubber makes it so much of a cartoon that it's just not. It's been detracting me lately. It didn't bother me at first, but yeah, now it's kind of out there. So I do not think that I will push this $1 Million Man past the black suit. So the first black suit custom will move on past the green one. And that takes me to the next battle. This came from a seller that I will probably not do business with again. This is a phenomenal figure for starters, but I don't remember the seller's name. He is the seller I bought the 2 custom Legion of Doom figures from. So obviously I have Legion of Doom figures from Random Treasures, and then I have 2 more that I bought from that particular seller. And for $75 for the set, I thought it was a great buy. And when I got the figures, Hawk's head was decapitated. No mention of any damage to the figure. I contact the seller. He tells me, "Oh, well, super glue it." I'm like, "Really?" But I don't want to say, hey, I had one bad experience and, kind of, burn that bridge. Especially if they're going to have something that I want in the future. So you want to kind of keep a good rapport with people. So even though it was a bad experience, I still left positive feedback. I came back and I bought this figure. I also bought a carded Jesse Ventura LJN. I get the package and they send it in a mail bubble envelope. What was bubble envelopes, mailers? And I'm like, hold on a minute. You send an LJN carded figure, and we all know LJN carded figures sell for $200, $300, $400. We've seen some sell for $800 and $1,200, etc. And you're going to put it in a package that you know is going to be destroyed. Sure enough, I open up the package. The LJN bubble is completely removed, and you pay for the bubble. You pay for the card. And it was so frustrating. He sent the same figure in that same package. No protection, no additional shrink wrap or anything like that, bubble wrap. Again, I left positive feedback for both orders, and I had to refund and ship that one back to him because, you're not paying 3 figures for a card figure that's not appropriately attached to the card. So like I said, that's 3 purchases, 3 bad experiences. I'm pretty much out on that one. But, I mean, at least I can say that the custom $1 Million Man figure that I did get from him, I don't think he's a customizer. I just think he had this previously purchased, and he was just reselling it. And it's a really good figure. And very reminiscent. Where did I put that other one? Here it is. Again, they stuck with the purple scheme of the jacket and tie, but they just switched it up with the silver instead of the black. Now, do I think that this is better than the black suit version? I like it a lot, but I'm still gonna stick with the black custom. So we are now through $4 Million Mans, and this one is the top figure. The next one came from Stanger GQ, and it is one of my all-time favorite figures. It's absolute beauty. He does have this purple, again sticking with the original black purple, but they switch out the black uniform for the white uniform. I just love how they put the purple glitter and how it sparkles. Everything from down the leg, around the dollar sign, over the top. I mean, just all around, just a perfect figure. Absolutely amazing. I still love this one, but come on, I just can't pass up on a Stanger GQ version. We're still not done. The last $1 Million Man. This is one of the first I think this is probably the third $1 Million Man figure I bought. Maybe the fourth. No, it had to be the third. I don't think I had an original $1 Million Man yet at the time I purchased this. So, you got the Stanger GQ version and we got the Wrestling Rider version. 2 perfect pieces. I mean, Wrestling Rider on his version definitely went all out. I mean, you got this beautiful, I guess that's Jack's Pacific wrestling belt that he included with the figure. The design of the overall uniform is just perfect. I like the gold better than purple, but, I mean, come on, there is no wrong answer here. They're both phenomenal, and I am going with the Wrestling Rider once again to move forward to the next round. So, to recap in this video, original Slick, custom one-man gang, custom Rick Martel, Andre the Giant Blackstrap, Big Boss Man, Pink Referee, and Wrestling Rider, custom of $1 Million Man, all move forward to round 2. So this is the 7th video, and in video number 8, we're finishing up the rest of Series 6, and then we move on to the Random Treasures figures, which are their customs or their exclusives. So 7 videos in, and we haven't even completed the original line for the most part. Oh man, this is. I was saying that this was gonna take 30 videos, but I think it's gonna be more closer to 50. I don't know. It may not take that many videos, but it just feels that way right now. And I'm still got more figures due in at some point. Hopefully by next week, and I can include them with the rest of the Wrestling Rider figures when I get to those. Start making those videos. So again, today's the 23rd of September, Friday. It's like 2:14 a.m. This is the 3rd video I made today, and the 7th video overall. This video won't be posted for several weeks, so I still got a lot of videos in queue, so it's going to be a while. I still got time. Everybody, thank you so much once again. You guys are definitely the best, and again, let me know what you think. Don't just stop at what I chose. What would you guys have chosen? I look forward to hearing from you. Goodbye, everyone.